Welcome to the Left-Handed Knitter. Today I will be demonstrating how to work Fair Isle stranded work, basically knitting with more than one color. I'll be starting right here on this row 2 of these alpaca feet. Before you begin, it's good to know how to hold the yarn. I have tried many different ways, and this is what I find that works best for me. I carry the yarn so one strand is below my knuckle and one strand is above my knuckle. I have tried some of the contraptions you can buy that slip over your finger, kind of like a ring, and you can put your yarn through that. However, I have man hands and find that they do not fit my fingers very well, and my fingers start to lose circulation because they're too tight for my fingers. So this is what works for me. Other people will just carry the strand of the color that they're using and drop the other one. That is another possibility. It's even slower though. So to start, where I am in the pattern, since I'm a left-handed knitter, I'm knitting from left to right. So I have 3 reds, white, red, white, 4 reds, white, red, white, and that's actually 6 reds there. So here I've completed the 4. Should probably get my working view here. So I have the 4 reds, that's in the middle. So I guess I'll be starting here, white, red, white, followed by the 6 reds. So I just go in, I grab the white, next one is a red one, and the white one. I do try to keep one color always on top and one color always on the bottom. Next I'm going to do the 6 reds. So for this I'm only going to go halfway, and then I'm going to carry the float. So if you look in Fair Isle, we'll look in the back side here, you'll see all these wonderful floats back here. And that's your work being carried, the yarn being carried of the color you're not using. What's wonderful about this is it gives the garment an extra layer of warmth, so they feel very warm and snuggly. So I finished 3. Now what I need to do is to carry this float so it doesn't snag or catch on anything, is to twist it. So I'm going to take this white one, because that's the one I need to carry, go over the red, and then put it back into its same position. So you see right there, it's just wrapped around the red yarn. Now I can continue on with my knitting, finishing up those 3 red ones I needed to do. 1, 2, and 3. Then my pattern, so that's my 6. So now I'm going to go back to white, red, white. Oops. So here, now to make sure that that float has been carried loosely enough, I need to do a little extra work. You can see down here, this is a hat I started when I was a new knitter and I never finished. You can see how tight my stitches are, my floats are, and it's starting to pucker the garment. We don't want that. That's not good. That tells me that my floats back here were too tight. So to avoid that, what I do is I could either pull some of that out, which you have to stop and do that. It's okay, it works, but not great. What I like to do is I'll start that new stitch, then I'll take my finger and I'll get it in the way of the yarn. See how it's wrapped over my fingertip? Oops. And this is not a perfect method. This is my own method. Something that I find works for me, but it can be tedious and slow. So I have it over my finger. And now I have this nice large float. In this case, it's a little too much, so I'm going to pull some of that back. And just kind of snug that up a little bit, but not too tight. Another thing I've done in the past is I'll just stretch out the stitches to its maximum stretch and let that float stretch out. That way I know even when the hat is stretched at its greatest maximum stretchiness, that float will be able to stretch with it. Back to the red. Back to the white. Now the pattern has me only do 4 reds here. Because it's so small, I'm not going to carry the white on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and knit 4. Typically, anything more than 5 stitches is when I start to think about carrying floats. And because it still has a way to stretch, I am still going to stick my finger in there to stretch that out, and I can snug that up a little bit, kind of do my stretch test, and carry on. Oops, I should have a white one. Just like that. If you look on the back, you can see my floats going across. In the end, you'll have this big mess. Let me zoom out a little bit. Of yarn that you need to weave in. I tend to take a day and I will weave these in before the project is over. I personally hate weaving in and like to do it as I go. And then that way at the end it's not so miserable of spending all that time weaving in. You weave in just like you would normally weave in for your regular knitting. As far as direction, since this is in the round, I just go ahead and do it from left to right, knowing that when you come back around, you're still reading left to right since you're in the round. If you're doing a flat piece, you will have to read left to right and then right to left. Because it's a chart, you can knit right to left without any changes. The pattern will look exactly the same, especially when it is in the round. It makes it nice and easy. Actually, a flat piece too. The only time you may have to think about, let me think about that. I will hold that comment. So yes, you can just read your chart from left to right. If you have any further questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching.